While San Francisco has a ton of rookies people are excited about, a player I don't think's getting enough love is Drew Moss, the undrafted free agent guard out of Colorado State. When you look at him against the Broncos, for instance, according to PFF, he earned the second highest grade on the offensive side of the ball, and his pass block grade of 83.7 was the highest on the team. And when you turn on the film, you saw the same things that made him the second highest graded guard across the nation according to PFF last year at the college level. So in this video, I want to dive a little bit more deeply into the player that is Drew Moss, examine his most recent Broncos film, see what he did well, what he struggled with, so we can really understand what he'll offer San Francisco heading into this year. Initially, to start out, what really impresses me about Moss is his pass blocking. Unlike San Francisco's other offensive linemen they routinely draft, he's truly a dominant pass blocker. I mean, he does have shorter than average arms, but he has great technique. Initially on this play, for instance, he does a great job of engaging with his double underhooks, and then with 96 putting all of his weight on one arm, he's able to identify that, uses a hand swipe, and 96 is finding his way to the floor quickly. Another thing I love about Moss's pass protection is his kick slide. Here, for instance, with this defensive tackle lined up pretty far outside of him, he does a great job of kick sliding back to him, meets him there, and then watch his hands on this play. Like last play, he's keeping them active. He's able to establish a strong left underhook, but his right side he has to keep fighting with, and he does. And with this defensive lineman trying to shoot across his face, he's able to tell he has no balance, and then forces his way into the ground, getting the pancake on the play. I love this type of aggression. When you see a player off balance, attack them. And that's what Moss did here. Another thing about Moss, because he started in 47 collegiate games at both tackle and guard, he's an extremely smart player. Here with the Broncos running a stunt, for instance, he does a great job of initially engaging with 90, and he feels 90 pushing across his face, so he knows a stunt is most likely coming. He's able to identify 92 coming over the top, so he disengages his right hand to pick up 92. He sees Corey Kiner does it though, so then he reestablishes his base with 90. Moss also did an excellent job of negating the defensive lineman's moves routinely. Here, for instance, he establishes a double underhook, so 95 tries to hit him with a hand swipe, but Moss gets underneath his pads even more so and drives him outside of the pocket. Another thing about Moss, because he is a shorter offensive lineman coming in right around 6'3", weighing 305 pounds, he's excellent at anchoring. Here, for instance, he's able to establish the double underhook, and 90 is going nowhere. And while mainly so far I've been focusing on Moss's power and technique, the fact is he's also extremely athletic, earning a relative athleticism score of 9.28. And on this play, you get to see how his lateral agility allows him to block 96. With 96 shooting across his face, for instance, he does a great job of responding, keeping his feet active, and then engaging with 96, getting the double underhooks, and establishing a strong base. Moss's athleticism also means you can routinely pull him across offensive line and kick out defensive tackles. Here on this naked boot, for instance, he does a nice job of first helping out his tackle, and then seeing this defensive tackle in the backfield barreling down on his quarterback, he's able to cut off his lane and get the block on the play. Moss's athleticism also allows him to do every single thing Kyle Shanahan wants. Here, for instance, Kyle Shanahan's running a screen, and you can see just how quickly Moss is able to make his way up to the second level. The final aspect of Moss's pass protection I really liked watching in this Broncos game was how he continually helped out his center or tackle. On this play, for instance, you see how aggressive he's attacking this defensive tackle, and this reminds me of a player like Pooney last year. Now moving into Moss's run blocking, like his pass protection, he does an excellent job of using his athleticism to get the better of defensive linemen. Here, for instance, he has a pretty challenging block down blocking on this defensive tackle, slanting away from him, and frankly, most offensive linemen wouldn't be able to get there, but because he's athletic enough, he gets there and pushes him outside of this play, giving Corey Kiner just enough room to operate. Another thing about Moss's run blocking, he has an extremely solid hook block. Here going against 96, for instance, he quickly gets off the ball, flips his hips, and then drives him into the floor, and you can see how this creates a clear running lane for this back to run behind. And even though Moss isn't the biggest offensive lineman, I thought he did a pretty nice job of driving defensive linemen throughout the game. Here, for instance, with the blatant hands to the face, he keeps driving and gives Corey Kiner more room to operate. This isn't me saying Drew Moss is a perfect player, as I do think he can get better by getting stronger, refining his pass blocking technique, as well as getting a little bit more comfortable in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. but overall, when I looked at this most recent Broncos game, I saw a guard that can have a lot of success in Kyle Shanahan's system. Sure, he's not the biggest guard, but he has the athleticism Kyle Shanahan desires. He can pull, he can go out in screens, he can double team up to the second level, and maybe most importantly to me, for San Francisco's team that really struggled at protecting Brock Purdy last year, he was San Francisco's highest graded pass blocking offensive lineman in this most recent Broncos game. But to fully understand the player that is Drew Moss, I did want to briefly break down his career up to this point so we can understand what he'll offer San Francisco heading into this year. Initially, to start out, when we were introduced to Moss, he wasn't just playing football, but he was also a track and field star at Richardson High School in Richardson, Texas. Meanwhile, as a football player for Richardson, he played all across their offensive line and started 3 years and earned all-district selection each one of those years. Still though, this wasn't enough for him to be ranked by 24/7 Sports, and he only received one offer from Lamar in which he accepted. And immediately from Lamar as a true freshman, he grabbed onto the starting role in 2021, starting in all 11 games, and the following year in 2022, he once again started in all 11 games to really showcase his durability. Moss knew after his 2022 season at Lamar though, if he wanted a chance to make an NFL team, he would have to go against stiffer competition. So he entered the NCAA transfer portal, and during the 2023 season, he decided to play for the Colorado State Rams. And that year for the Rams, he moved over from his tackle spot to the guard position that started in all 12 games, and he was part of an offensive line that averaged nearly 400 yards of offense per game. Moss's true breakout year though came last year for the Rams, where he was graded as the second highest graded guard across the entire nation according to PFF after starting all 13 games and not giving up a single sack. After this dominant season, Moss did decide to enter the 2025 NFL Draft, and at his pro day, he came in at 6'3", weighing 303 pounds, and he put up the bench press 20 times. And while he did have pretty short arms, he was an athletic freak. When you're looking at his relative athleticism score, for instance, it comes in at 9.28 out of 10, and when you dive a little bit more deeply into it, his composite speed is considered elite after he ran his 40-yard dash in 5 seconds and his 10-yard split in 1.7. Meanwhile, his explosion is considered elite, and his agility is considered great. In other words, he's a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's scheme that routinely requires an offensive lineman to pull, make their way up to the second level, and set up screens. And while he doesn't have ideal measurements for most teams, we have seen a player like Pooney, who only has an inch longer arms than him, have a lot of success with San Francisco. And considering the fact that Moss is only 22, he can definitely add some weight to his frame. So overall, when I'm looking at Moss headed forward into San Francisco's system, I definitely could see him pushing for a roster spot, especially when you consider how he performed during his first outing. Not only was he San Francisco's second highest graded offensive player, he was their best offensive lineman in pass protection, which I value a lot more than run blocking. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts on San Francisco's undrafted free agent guard Drew Moss, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. Do you think he pushes for a roster spot like I do, or do you think he'll just end up making the practice squad? It would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video to go ahead and like and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.